I have a 2000 Land Rover Discovery 2 with petrol engine. I found a forum from 2016 that described briefly how to change the motor mounts. Nowhere else provided this information that I could find. So I'm going to make a quick video describing what I've figured out and what it looks like so far. So there is an awful engine mount on the driver's side. And the only way to get to it is with a little stubby 18mm. I finally cracked it loose using some leverage, but it is terrible to get to that little bolt right in there. Now it's broke loose. The rest of it seems pretty straightforward. Take that bolt off, take that bolt off. I have a 2x4 and a jack. I'm gonna wiggle the engine up. Once I get a little further along, I'll resume video, but right now I'm gonna finish taking that bolt off. I'm gonna crack that bottom bolt. And then I'm gonna move over here. Do the same thing with this side. Crack that bottom bolt and then go after this one right up there. This is how I found to leverage it. It's pretty freaking terrible still. It's not locking on. Off there, you bastard. You're not working on a car unless you're breaking your thumb. Okay. Okay, I've removed both of the terrible screws, bolts, nuts, and now I'm going after these nuts. From what I understand, that old forum, these studs here will come out. So we're going to take that nut off, and then we're going to see if we can remove that stud because it'll make it a little bit easier to get this engine mount out. You can tell it's failed. My front prop was sitting at a really terrible angle. I lost a U-joint, almost stopped just prior to it completely splitting, and noticed everything seemed out of alignment. Looked up front and there we go. That's why. So let's get this thing off here and resume filming. Okay, both the bolts up front are taken off. I'm going to loosen my transmission mount bolts. From what I understand, it makes it a little bit easier to lift the engine and get it in position. Plus, I'm going to change these out as soon as the engine mounts are done. Okay, the newest problem I'm running into is this tedious situation where the jack is pressed against my aluminum oil pan. Now we're going to try to lift it, and now we see the engine's not lifting, but the entire vehicle is lifting. That's not nice. So it's 1 a.m. and I did something that's arguably much stupider, but I really didn't want to risk my aluminum pan. I wanted to risk my fingers instead, I suppose. So I braced the 2x4 against where the mount meets the engine and bounced it up. And I used a very long screwdriver to knock the old mount out and hurriedly put the new mount in. Really not intelligent, but it worked. And I don't know if I want to do the other side like that, but it is 1 a.m. and the best choices are made in the middle of the night. Now, the new one on the driver's side is on. The top bolt, the really difficult one to get to, is down tight. The bottom bolt, I just spun it a few threads to hold it in while I jacked up the engine. Here's the shenanigans we have going on this side. Very, very safe. Absolutely. I feel very comfortable putting my hands in there. Anyhow, we're going to jack it up and see if we can get this motor mount out of there. You can tell these motor mounts have completely failed. See if I can be quick about this. Just raise it up a little bit more. Down a little bit, just a hair. Okay. Down a little more. That's in place. Oh, it's hair raising. Did not like that, but it's in. Okay. I'll use some button her up and move to the transmission mounts. Hopefully it'll be less terrible. Okay, yesterday we replaced the engine mounts. Tonight it's 39 degrees, the wind's pushing 12 miles an hour, and it's 11 o'clock at night, which means it's a perfect time to continue with the transmission mounts. We have the question of why Land Rover engineers hate professional and backyard mechanics alike. The replacement of these bolts. We're about to get this one out, which is the transfer case, before we move over to the larger one over here on the transmission. Back here, engaged in questionable behavior. Working to get that transmission mount out of there. We'll see if it's out. Try and get that new one in. Don't see value. Let's see, shield versus. Get my dang fingers in there. Golly. We weren't fooling with this heat shield. I'd have that thing in there already. My fingers wouldn't be in such a tedious, terrible spot. God, I hate my hand being there. It's the worst. Freaking frack. Okay. Not want. Oh. No heat shield for you. None. You do not need one. I decided. Why, man? Why? Okay, I just had to push it up as far as it would go and then pry the top end. In, I had to get this in, I had to jack it up as high as it would go. To get this in, I had to jack it up as high as it would go. And then, excuse my shadow here. Okay. To get this in, I had to jack it up as high as it would go. To get it in, I had to jack it up as high as it would go, and then pry it in to place, line this hole up with a screwdriver. So now it's lined up. This is a difficult one, and I'm going to lower it down, bolt it up, and then move over to the easier one.